Hey, welcome to the Jimmy Curve, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for listening. I am your host, Jimmy Putnam. With me, as always, are my co-hosts, Joshua Vossler.
Hello, everybody.
And Will Doherty.
Hey.
All right, cool. Not a lot of introduction this week. We've just got a lot of topics to get into, so we're going to jump right into it with our guests. We are doing a double-guested show. I should not have blown right by my co-host. Do you guys have anything you want to start out talking about?
I want to talk about our guests, so this is perfect.
No can do, Josh. I've got to get right to our guests.
I do have a topic that I wanted to bring up with one of our guests that happened right before we recorded, and I wanted to say something immediately, but I saved it.
We don't have
for
time, Will. I've got to introduce our
Okay,
guests.
all right.
God damn it. You guys keep derailing me. Joining us on the podcast this week, it's a two-guester, a double-guester show. Guest number 1, checking in on mic number 4, Pete Sakaris. Hey!
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
And checking in on channel number 5, my good friend Todd Dillon.
Oh, yeah.
Hey!
What's up, guys? Yeah, baby.
How are you guys doing?
Not too bad.
I'm good. I'm pumped.
Can I do my uncomfortable thing now?
I feel like it's directed at me.
It is.
Yeah, go ahead.
When Todd Dillon got here before we were recording, we were just sitting down at the microphones, and he sat down at the microphone immediately next to me, turns to me and goes, "Do you smell?" Yeah. And he been like, "Oh, okay," and then picked up and moved to the next microphone, and then we all moved on.
That is correct. So apologies to Pete Sakaris,
Sorry, Pete.
Yeah.
who is now seated directly
Should have
next
been here
to
on time.
No, here's the thing. You're 100% correct, because I texted Jimmy just before we were coming over here to record, and the text I sent him said, "Oh shit, it's 6:45. What time was I supposed to be over here?" I just lost track of everything. So I haven't showered today.
And my response was, I assume Pete Sakaris is going to be here any minute.
Right.
So immediately.
But no, so I got here late, so I haven't showered, and my
The joke is that Pete rolled in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But my coat does, I deliver pizzas and work at Pizza Hut in my coat, which means it just absorbs the stench.
Right.
So I couldn't tell, you did it so casually, it seemed like you were joking, but I also wasn't sure how bad I actually smell. So just to be as uncomfortable as possible, I wanted to ask you on the air how bad I smell.
No, I didn't smell you. I just know that you deliver pizza, so there's a good chance that you smell it.
I would also like to point out that Will Doherty is wearing a shirt from Pickleman's, the last food delivery job he had, which I assume has not been washed since he left that job.
Right. Well then, yeah. Once you wash it, then you lose all the...
Josh, does he smell? Can you smell
He
it?
has his own essence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think...
So I made the right seating choice.
I think the question was less, are you the smell that I am detecting right now? And more, do you in generally smell, and should I be worried about that?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess the answer was yes either way. So.
We should go to Pete. Are you detecting any funky smells?
Well, if he works at Pizza Hut, I'm a lifelong fan, so I'm not complaining.
Oh.
By the way, when Pizza Hut shit canned the Pizzone, I wept bitter tears for all of humanity.
Oh, as did I, because that was the thing that we prepped that we ended up throwing away the most. So it was my best source of free food.
Sustenance.
Legitimate free food. I mean,
That's so fucked up that you looked forward to it. You're like, oh man, I'm gonna miss out on all those free P-zones.
I delivered pizzas for a long time, and that is one of the benefits of working in a pizza delivery place is that, I mean, some of them I never got all corporate like Pizza Hut. But if you work for a mom and pop pizza joint, you'll discover pretty quickly that pizza ingredients, when they are ordered in bulk, are so cheap that they can just make pizzas that they throw away. So there's lots of free pizza at the two places I've worked at anyways.
Well, that seals it. I'm quitting my job. Bring me a resume, Will.
I'm done with stockbroking.
Yes,
Which
exactly.
is what Todd does. I believe. I don't really know what you do, honestly.
You break stocks?
I broke them.
They're broken now.
I have a degree of undeserved but genuine rage at any comedian who has a real job and experiences happiness and success.
Pete, you have a real job too, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, see? So
Son of a bitch!
It just kind of happened.
Right.
you
No,
got
it didn't. It didn't just. You don't end up breaking stocks by coincidence. You don't just wake up one morning and like wander into a stock brokerage and then leave with a job.
Wait, yeah, you kind of did.
I kind of did.
Then fuck you even more.
Like, the way that I got my job now is 7 years ago, I got out of the military and then did some shit in Tennessee that didn't pan out, and then came back to Nebraska, and there was a brokerage firm near my house.
The shit you did in Tennessee didn't pan out, or just the state of Tennessee in general isn't panning out?
I mean, it's
half
it's
a
getting-
dozen to
it's
one.
getting
I
pretty-
gotcha.
Like, there was a lot of, in the wake of Katrina, things got bad.
Oh.
Yeah, like the town next to the one I'm at, that I grew up in, is the third most dangerous small town in America.
I hate it when you're just joking around and stumble on real tragedy.
That's my favorite thing.
But so then I applied for a job there because it was close to my house,
Right.
and I got it. And then some military people wanted me to come back, so I went back to that. And then I got tired of that one, and I just called my old boss, and I was like, "Hey, can I come work for you again?" She was like, "Yeah."
Nice. All right. Well.
And then now I broke stock.
What do you do, Pete?
I work in a cubicle at First Data. I've switched different departments in my 7 years there, but currently I'm...
God, you've already lost me. It
Yeah.
Oh no!
it got boring like right away.
Here's
Throw in a lot of crime in the wake of a tragedy. That amps Jimmy up on the story.
Right.
well, no. Here's the thing. I want to know what cubicle job you do, because as a person who found Dilbert relatable since he was in the 3rd grade, like I've been spending a lot of time reading about cubicles, even though I've never had a real job.
Right.
So, what do you do?
I am a support specialist, which means I monitor the documents and indexing for the disputes and fraud departments.
I was
First
wrong.
Data. So cardholder wants to dispute a transaction, or they have an unauthorized transaction. We basically handle all the paperwork, get everything where it needs to go, and I talk to people on the phone on occasion, which I still hate after being in a call center for 5 years and not going mad.
That's
Oh,
some
yeah.
rock star shit.
That'll do.
You are living the crazy life, Pete.
More importantly, Pete and Todd both do comedy. Pete, you do mostly stand-up. Todd does a lot of improv. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but I just have a couple of things I want to get to that are going on now. We're recording this on February 23rd, Monday, February 23rd. Sunday, February 22nd. A lot of stuff happened. First of all, the Oscars happened last night. So my question to all four of you is, do you care?
I do in some respects.
Ooh.
There's like a degree of relevance as the years go by, but I didn't even... I sadly did not get to watch it, but I kept up with the results or whatever on Twitter.
Oh, wow.
There's like these movies I've never heard of, actors I've never heard of, but powerful performances nonetheless. Like Lady Gaga did The Sound of Music and got...
I did watch that.
And Julie Andrews put her over, or gave her props, as we say in the wrestling business. And like Patricia Arquette said, women have fought for equal rights. Now it's time for equal wage. And that got a big pop for a response. So
It's probably trending somewhere.
right.
It is.
Yeah.
Josh, Will, Oscars.
I want you to justify your derision towards that comment. Like, fuck women.
I don't watch it. I don't watch it really. I came over here and you were kind of just skimming through it.
Yeah.
But otherwise I would not have seen any of it.
Yeah.
You don't really need to anymore. Like with the internet, like today I was just like, okay, this is what is relevant
Right.
out of, 10 minutes
Right.
out of 3 hours. I liked seeing like actors I like win, like J.K. Simmons won. Well, that was cool.
Yeah. I want to see Whiplash. I haven't seen it, and I haven't seen Birdman. I want to see those movies, but that's insofar as I care about the Oscars. I just kind of want to. It kind of gives me a list of things to watch. What Todd and I were doing was watching UFC fights. So, like, I sometimes classify my friends by the thing we most have in common, or like our our commonality, like the thing we talk about. For example, Will is my sadness friend.
Right.
Annie Hildebrand is my food friend. And Todd, you are my
Huge penis friend.
Let's not get carried away here.
Hey.
Todd is my fight friend. So we were watching the UFC fights last
Mostly
night.
sword fighting with your huge penises.
Well, Todd and I do combine to take up a 4-person couch because there's needed an extra cushion for our giant penises.
And then a little extra armrest for our balls.
That's right.
I totally missed the last
took it too
episode where you guys talked about boobs, but I made it the one for the penis.
A weird thing happened on last night's UFC that I thought was interesting, which was, so a typical UFC fight card, there's a main event with 5 fights, or a main card, and then there's a preliminary card with 5 more fights. So generally each event has 10 fights. And last night, all 10 underdogs won. Which means, so like, I don't know if that's ever happened before. Maybe on a boxing night, but like the odds of all 10 underdogs winning on a fight card are astronomical. Which means that last night a bunch of casinos lost their shit.
Yeah.
One in particular that I was reading about called, it's an online sports book called Boveda. It lost over $1 million. And what happened is a lot of people play parlays, which if you don't bet on sports, what a parlay is you pick, if it's like football, you bet on 4 or 5 games or however many games you want to pick. And then you have to, in order to win your bet, all of them have to win. But the odds get harder and harder, so the payout's bigger and bigger, which means a lot of people made parlay bets on like the underdogs, and over a dozen people won them. Like one guy bet, it was like $4 on every underdog, and they all won, and he won $85,000 on just like one bet of $40. So, and the casino, the guy from the casino, what he said about it was, we're never going to see any of that money again because the people who win those bets aren't gamblers. People who are betting $10,000 on fights, like, even if they have a good night, we're going to win that back eventually. But these people are going to continue betting $40 and they're going to keep their $80,000. So I just thought that was a super exciting thing.
One thing that I noticed about all the underdogs winning is it made the like fights awesome.
Right, exactly. Because we were talking about this earlier. In an MMA fight, generally when underdogs win, it's because there's some sort of exciting thing happened, like a stoppage.
Right, they don't usually win decision. They like do like a surprise choke out or like knock somebody out. So there were so many finishes last night, and they were really good. Like,
we were kind of aware of it as it was happening. We're like, man, this is a cool night of fights.
It's because we were talking about who's going to get knocked out of the night, because there was like 5 fights with knockouts, and it was awesome. I loved it.
The UFC tries to incentivize fighters to take risks and do more exciting things by offering money for knockouts and submissions. So the fighter who has like the most exciting knockout in a given night will get like $50,000 extra on top of whatever they make.
Wow.
Makes sense.
I feel like that's 100% justifying the worst things anyone would ever have to say about this. Like, oh, this is a blood sport. Like, yeah,
right.
Clearly that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, no, if he ripped out one of his eyes, he would have gotten a quarter mil.
Dude, the thing is, like, Kimbo Slice, who was in the UFC, he got his start like with internet videos,
Street fights.
Yeah, with internet, like bare knuckle boxing backyard shit. But the first video, he destroyed a guy's like eyeball.
It's one of the hardest things to watch on the internet.
He like broke his orbital socket.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It was nuts.
Right. And you can't literally rip out a person's eye in an MMA fight. That would get you probably banned for life. But punching someone in the head so hard that they go unconscious is encouraged and rewarded.
Oh yeah.
And like lots of that happened last night. So
I encourage it.
we were kind of aware of it as it was happening, but I didn't realize like how unusual of a thing we were seeing.
Well, can I go back to the casino thing?
Yeah,
like
I
when
would
you're
like to
saying
talk about that.
when you're saying that like they like these weren't gamblers.
Right.
who are spent like, are we really all going to collectively get together and feel real bad for casinos losing money?
I was wondering if you were going to say that, Will.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm double thumbs up. I think it's awesome.
Okay, well,
I
good.
think more casinos should lose money. Guys,
Right.
let's rob a casino.
The guy who owns this particular Boveda or whatever the online sports book is, in the interview, he was saying that he wasn't even watching the fight because it was the third. Like he was like, they get so much money in and out of there on NFL games and NBA games that like a UFC event generally doesn't register that much. And the Oscars was on at the same time, and they have like way more people who bet on the Oscars, which is a thing you can gamble on through sports books, which is, I think, hilarious. So he got a call from his partner right before the last fight of the night, which was Frank Mir versus Antonio Silva, or one of the guys who was taking bets for him. And the guy was like, you need to get ready, because if Frank Mir wins this next fight, we're going to take a fucking bath. And the guy was like, who's Frank Mir? Like it wasn't even on his radar. But
So that the big irony of that situation is like that guy for one moment got to experience what all of his customers pay for, which is watching a fight to know whether or not they can like afford to live.
yeah. That is very accurate and correct, and I think it reminds me of this time when you see these promotions on sports with like local businesses a lot. There was I can't even remember what it was called, but there was an electronics store in Kansas City. Oh shit, this must have been 12 years ago, and they offered a promotion, and it was if the Kansas City Chiefs shut out the San Diego Chargers this week, everything you bought this week is free. And then it happened. Well, they did record business that week, and I was at that game with my friend Adam Carey, who called in the other day to tell us how wrong we were about everything. We were at that game, and it was like people in the stands were going nuts because that company had done a record business, and people around us had stopped caring, like, if their favorite football team won. They were just like, my TV's free! and the company went out of business. I think they ended up paying back 70% or whatever, or it might have even been 30%. Like, they couldn't cover it because it was...
They just sent them out of business? You know what?
Okay,
I'm for it.
Imagine an electronics store. Imagine like an electronics store having to give away half of its inventory.
That would be like
Which is essentially what happened.
death on a business level.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm for it, because if you're willing to make that claim,
Oh, sure.
then you know?
Can you bet on professional wrestling?
Um.
Probably can't because it's fake, right?
Oh.
Here
we go.
we should state that both Pete and Todd are professional wrestling fans.
I am a very casual wrestling fan,
Right.
to be fair.
We're going to talk about that in a little bit. We'll get into that more in a second. But I just wanted to real quick finish up on MMA with Todd, because he's my fight friend, and I'm probably not going to have much of a chance on the Jimmy Curve to talk about UFC stuff very often. So I just want to throw these upcoming fights at Todd and get a quick take, and then we'll move on. UFC 184, February 28th. That's this coming Saturday. Ronda Rousey versus Kat Zingano.
Dude, nobody can beat Rousey. She's like light years. Oh, quick, huh? You didn't want me to elaborate? Go ahead.
Keep going. No, keep
All
going.
right, no.
Keep going.
No, dude, she's just on a completely different level than every other woman in the sport.
I love Kat Zingano. I think she's got a chance. Same fight card, Holly Holm versus Raquel Pennington. Do you care, and why?
I want to see it because you're a big fan of Holly Holm, and you say she's gonna wow
Holly
me.
Holm is one of the best women boxers on the planet. Like she's just a badass athlete. I think she's gonna rip through that division.
That's why I'm excited about it. But as for who wins, I don't.
I don't know if she's gonna challenge Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey has a particular skill set that is light years ahead of everyone else at her weight class at this time.
Well, and then now
and she can always fall back on judo trip armbar, which
Right.
no one can defend in that weight class.
Yeah. No, like, almost nobody can defend against that. Like, that's how she's taking you down, Jimmy.
Was that? Did a phone just ring? What was that? Was that Nicole? Hey, everybody, say hi to Pete's friend Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. I thought we were doing the AA thing. Were we not doing the AA?
Hi, Nicole.
Okay, real quick. Next, UFC 187, May 23rd. John Bones Jones versus Anthony Rumble Johnson.
I want Rumble to win so bad, just because he's had like this skyrocket comeback.
This is a really exciting story. I love the. I first of all, I just love sports stories, but like this guy's career path has been interesting. He was trying to make. He kept fighting at 187 or 170. He was trying to make the weight at 170, and he couldn't make the weight. Like he's just a giant guy. He kept missing weight, and he kept losing because he would come into fights dehydrated with no energy, and he would just get wrestled to the ground and then choked out. He missed like weight in like 3 consecutive fights. He'd weigh in way over. And then the UFC cut him. And then he fought on some smaller circuit shows. Now he's back in the UFC fighting in main events at 205, which is, 2 weight classes above where he was before. And he's tearing through people like they're not even there. Like
it's insane. He went up against, it was Phil Davis?
He fought Phil Davis.
Yeah, he fought Phil Davis
as
as this huge underdog. Like, they were grooming Phil Davis to fight Jones next, and Rumble just walked in there and literally just tossed him around the ring.
He didn't take the typical sort of UFC title road where you fight 3 or 4 guys on undercards, and if you beat them, you work your way up through the top 10. They immediately threw him in there against the top 5.
Yeah, and he just crushed his way through them.
It looked like he was fighting high school kids.
Yeah, it's... It makes no sense that...
And I've fought a lot of high school kids, I should say. No, I have not. But
mostly people who disrespected you behind a register.
Correct. Also on that card, Chris Weidman versus Vitor Belfort.
I want Weidman to win just because I like watching him fight more than...
I kind of don't...
Vitor's kind of on a downhill. He's off the TRT. I don't...
Belfort, good fighter, and was a contender, but he hasn't been around for a long time because he had to get his body off of all of the steroids he was on for a long time.
But isn't he older?
He's like 38.
I mean, that's older in MMA.
Yeah, it's pretty old for MMA. Last fight on that card, Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Khabib Nurmagomedov.
You said it right. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
That was really impressive.
Nurmagomedov is 22-0.
Are you 100% that Khabib Nurmagomedov?
Yeah.
That is a fighter and not a character from the expanded universe.
Correct. It is canon. He is
okay.
But he is a super beat. Like, Khabib is one of the
I'm not a fan because he doesn't finish.
Boring
people.
as shit.
Yeah.
Boring as shit. But I mean, he'll toss you around.
But a winner.
Yeah. He'll take your legs out from under you and things like that. But Cerrone is a fucking monster now.
He's 100% the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, reckless abandon, balls to the wall, trying to kick dudes' heads off.
He's pissed off at Dana White because Dana White won't let him join the bull rodeo thing, National Bull Riding Championship, while he's a UFC fighter.
Right.
He took his last fight on 3 weeks' notice, and then...
Because he was pissed off at because the guy he was in there with wouldn't throw back, kind of ran from him.
He's literally the most game to fight guy, probably in any sport ever.
Typically, how long would you, if an active fighter, how long would they wait between fights?
I mean,
4 months,
even a
5
very
months?
active fighter would,
3 months.
Yeah, 3-4 months.
Yeah.
Some guys are pulling out 6-8.
He wants to fight every other week.
Yeah. He literally he won a fight. Took another fight 3 weeks later, and then was it 2 weeks that he offered to fight Anderson Silva?
Yeah, he started calling out the champ in a weight division 2 above him.
Yeah,
bring him on. He was like, "I'll get in my RV in Texas and drive to that fight now."
I mean, Silva wasn't the champ. It was Silva's comeback. Yeah, he was former champ and one of the most dominant champs.
Probably what most people consider the best fighter of all time.
Right. And Cerrone's just like, shit, I'll fight him, whatever.
All right. I'm going to pound the gavel on MMA talk. We can move on to what is not a sport, pro wrestling, and why do adult men still like it? That's really the question. Now, Pete.
Yes, sir.
You are active in the local pro wrestling scene. You referee, you do ring announcing.
And I've wrestled on occasion.
And you've wrestled on occasion.
Right.
Why?
because I love it, because I'm passionate about it, because I care about it, and I've been a fan all my life, and I wanted to live my dream, and that's what I'm doing.
Wow. All right. Todd, thoughts?
Wrestling's fun. It's fun to watch, man. Like, people get out there, they like go do stupid shit, and then they fight, and it's not like a UFC fight where, it can be boring.
Or a fight.
Yeah, or a real fight where it's just two guys hugging each other and punching where they can.
Pete, you're rolling your eyes.
You do this thing. You know that the thing that you're making is art and not athleticism.
Both.
Right?
Both.
Well,
it can be interpreted that way as both art and
Pete's giving up the
athletic
business.
Form.
I mean, you're like...
He's breaking fake. He's breaking kayfabe.
Acknowledging that professional wrestling isn't real with quotation fingers, like, we know, that's not even a valid reason to dislike it, but it's something that you can't, like, not acknowledge.
Oh, well, people acknowledge it, sure, but then they defend all the reasons why someone should like it and why it is popular, why it does actually help people.
What are those reasons?
Because those guys, especially in an international and national promotion like WWE, TNA, are on the road 300 days a year, sometimes more, like trying to feed their families, trying to provide a life for themselves and their families. They're putting their bodies on the line, night in, night out, for tons of people, both on non-televised events and on televised events, broadcast in over 60 countries. And they're doing it because they love it. They do it because they're passionate about it. And for some, it's taken them 5, 10, sometimes more even years just to get to the WWE. So they've had to...
We're not arguing... I think that's not really the question we're asking. Because I don't think we're arguing...
I have a tendency to just go off whenever someone shit talks about it.
Well, look, we're not arguing that those guys don't put their bodies through hell. I saw The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
Yep.
They do. Fucking great movie.
It's funner to pretend that they're really fighting.
Right.
It's just way funner that way.
Right.
So, like, I don't watch...
But you don't watch a movie and, like, talk about it with friends like it really happened. Like,
I do.
The events in the movie...
I was gonna... Not like it really happened, but...
Right.
Pete, I like the confidence in your answer when he asked you why would a grown man, and you were very confident. It was a different answer than I thought.
Right.
I thought it was just going to be like, I like the outfits.
What you responded with is, why do people compete in professional wrestling? And I am certainly not arguing that they don't work hard. For sure they do. I get that. My question is, what about it is compelling to an adult? Now, I watched wrestling. I stopped watching wrestling in the late 80s, probably.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, whenever Andre the Giant retired. That'd be like about the last I saw of it.
89, 90, yeah.
Yeah, right around there. Right. So 12-year-old, like, this 11-year-old picture of Jimmy on my coffee cup was the last time I watched wrestling.
Right.
Yeah, that's a real thing. I was on the Throwback Thursday show, and I was going through a bin of old photos, and a coffee cup with a picture of me, age 11, was in there, and I was like, I'm going to use that. This is awesome.
Jimmy, did you stop watching wrestling when you found out it was fake?
No, I guess I knew it was fake all along. Like, I never thought it was real.
Yeah.
Like, even I think 6 and 7-year-old Jimmy knew that this couldn't possibly be
I thought it was
real.
like you found out and it like broke you, and then now you're out on this vengeance mission against Pete.
You know what is funny about me is that I've kind of had the attitude I've had as long as I can remember.
You were just like a grumpy 7-year-old.
Like, I was an atheist at 7. Like,
Like-
when my parents were making me go to Sunday school when I was a little kid, like, it seemed like bullshit to me then. I was like, this doesn't make sense. I never really believed in Santa Claus, like, ever. Like, maybe at 4 or 5, but as soon as I could start really processing information, and there was never a moment where my world came crumbling down. It was just like, this is ridiculous, but I'm on board with getting presents. So I wasn't like crushed or anything. I was
found a reason to gravitate towards it.
Right. And I still like enjoyed the pageantry, I think, of what was at the time the WWF. Like, it was still cool seeing how, I mean, I guess as a little kid, I watched it like I watched cartoons, which is like, it's fun to see how this plays out.
Yeah, and that's how I watch it as an adult.
Right. But I lost interest when I discovered, like, sports, which essentially has the same thrill, or it's the same drama, the same narratives, only real, and like
It's not the same drama. Not even close.
Not even the same narratives. A lot of
Like,
these guys are just,
well, not exactly.
like the Cowboys have never been playing, and Papa Shango came out and made their heads bleed black blood.
right.
Or they never climbed under the football field and ran into a whole valley of little people and the Muppets. That's never happened in a football game.
I don't know what you're talking about, but
Those are legitimate things that have happened in wrestling.
you're starting to convince me. Keep going.
Yeah, and I told you we should go to the one because it's fun because you just get to yell at people
Right.
and like you get to make fun of them and they yell at you back. It's very interactive. But no, I mean, it's just like...
Do you deal with that a lot when you're like reffing, like people yelling at you? And
Oh, yeah.
saying,
Come on, ref, do your job. Tie your shoe. Can you count? And I'm like, ugh.
Well, it's like theater, right? And I actually would probably like wrestling more than like going actually to go see like Hamlet.
Yeah.
I'd rather go see wrestling, even if it's the same.
And I'm sure
it's the
they've-
same thing.
I'm sure they've pulled the Hamlet storyline at least once in wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't
Right.
So
say
how-
it out loud, but...
So how big of nerds are you with wrestling?
Biggest. Well,
Okay.
okay, not.
Do you have
don't-
like? Do you have the belts? Like,
no.
you have
I don't.
belts?
I do not own any replica belts.
Okay, come on. Toys?
I do have a lot of action figures. I do not collect anymore, but yeah, I collected for many years. I have a couple hundred. So, yeah.
Do you have like? You said you've wrestled before. Do you have a character with an attitude or anything?
My character is me. My character is just an extension of my personality. Same thing you guys were talking about last episode. Just our regular personalities with the volume turned way up.
So sort of the same thing like when you do stand-up comedy, like you're doing an exaggerated version of yourself.
Slightly exaggerated.
Yeah. Pete, you're a pretty understated guy. I can't imagine that you... I can't picture you actually wrestling. Like,
A lot of people can't.
yeah.
They can't picture a guy who has cerebral palsy from birth,
Right.
175 pounds, 6 foot, like gangly or whatever, actually competing.
Not
in a
or
ring
whatever,
and-
gangly.
Yeah, and like
I'm kidding.
Any-
Oh yeah.
like any physical activity, really. Like, oh man, you performed in front of 200 people in Council Bluffs. Yep.
Well, like,
Well, I mean, I can't. I mean, even without like palsy, I can't imagine a person who's shaped like a person wrestling. Like the only thing I can see wrestling is people who have like arms the size of my waist. I say
Right.
that as a 300-pound man.
well, part
Like-
of the reason I don't call it athletics is because a defining quality of athletics is competition, is legitimately competing. If there's no competition, it just becomes exercise.
It's
Which
an
is-
aerobics class.
Which is still an athletic activity, but it's not
mean-
not a sport. Now, but that does not mean that what those guys go through is not impressive.
Right.
And like for sure, those guys destroy their bodies.
Oh yeah.
It's like, have you been like walk me through like a night when you're gonna wrestle? Like, what do you have to go through before and after, like, putting on the show?
I've only wrestled 3 times, so
Right.
it'll take a little bit to think about. I just have to just stretch out really good, go over what I'm all going to do in my head and how I want the vision to play out in my head, even though sometimes that's really not what happens. But just make sure I'm mentally prepared, as physically prepared as I can be, because with cerebral palsy, people get winded easier doing any
Yeah.
type of exertion, any type of physical activity. And I just sort of get my mind ready and get my body as ready as it can be
Nice.
for a match. But once I get in there, I'm just in the zone, and then I think, okay, here we go, it's on, ready.
Have you been hurt?
Yes, I've pulled both hamstrings. I bruised my ribs. I was kicked, punched, stretched in training. And I guess in my last match, I bruised my ribs and sort of messed up my left foot for a while. But yeah, injuries are just a part of the game. And a lot of guys, they're retiring like younger than usual. Like CM Punk just retired at 35.
Well, he's taking a fight in the UFC.
Right, he went to UFC, decided that
So the pro wrestling was too rough on his body, so he's gonna actually fight.
right, right. But careers are short, careers are fast, and you have to have the body, you have to be built for it. And it took me 3 matches to figure that out. I told myself after my last match, I was like, I better leave this to the guys who are made for it, who are built for it, and I can contribute through my non-competitive aspects like the ring announcing or the refereeing and still be a part of it, still be on there and out there, which was my goal to begin with.
Cool. Do you guys want to try out something I'm calling the pro wrestling game?
Sure.
All right, here's how it's going to work. Again, like every other game we've ever tried on the Jimmy Curve, I've not prepared, and I don't know how this is going to work or if it will at all. I've written down each of our names on a card. So we're each going to draw somebody's name at this table. If you draw your own name, you can redraw.
I want Will.
And then we're going to go
Everybody
around.
wants Will.
and what you have to do is whoever's name you draw, you'll say their name. Like I drew Pete's name, I drew Todd's name.
Right.
You will assign them a pro wrestling personality and name, and then call them out as though you have just finished a match in the ring.
I love this idea already.
We're cutting promos.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've just finished a match. The ring announcer, Pete Sakaris, hops in the ring. He puts the mic in your face, and you're going to call somebody out. So you can give them a name if you want, and do it however you want. Have fun with it. Like I said, the last time I watched wrestling was WWF. So that's what I'm drawing on.
Right.
But if everyone would like to draw a name, it will. You drew your own name. Okay, cool. Will drew his own name. We'll switch this around. I will stop this recording, and we'll give us a little bit of time to put something together. Time passes. Okay. We're back. Everybody's drawn a name. Everybody's about to do. Now these have a name in wrestling. What did you call them?
Promos.
Promos. Okay, so promos is where you cut to a guy with a microphone and he's like calling somebody out.
Or talking about himself, talking about what he's
Right.
going to do, sort of playing the story out, talking them into the building.
Okay, so I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna try this. I've never done anything like this before, so I'm just gonna wing it. I drew Joshua's name. So, there's someone in this building who's been asking for an ass kicking. I'm talking to you, the mortician. I'm calling you out. Once I'm done with you, who will be left to take care of your corpse? Christmas Eve, Mexico City, an embalming match. I don't know, and then a funeral. That's what I got. That was the best. That was my first try. I may have completely buried my my gain knob on that one, but best I could do. All right.
My favorite part of that experience was that when you said the mortician,
Yeah.
I just pictured the Undertaker, but he was wearing a suit, like he hadn't found his character yet. Like a super young the Undertaker, but
I should explain. Josh is studying mortuary sciences in school. All right.
Calling you out, bro. Calling you out, Will the Cheese Doherty. We used to be friends. We used to be really good friends. I literally gave you the shirt off my back. Now you walk around like your shit don't stink? Well, how about you like to wear my foot in your ass?
Good. We might want to back off these mics a little bit because there's a lot of yelling going on. All right. Will, what do you got?
listen to me, you little candy ass. Pizza Sakaris. Pizza, that's an appropriate name because that's what your face is gonna be when I'm done mashing it into the mat.
I saw genuine rage behind your eyes.
He gets into his character.
Now, were you talking to, when you said Pete Sakaris, were you referring to Pete Sakaris or his character, Pete Sakaris?
Obviously.
Is that two words? Like pizza.
Pizza Sakaris.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, his character's name is Pete Sakaris.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's good. I like it. All right, Pete, what do you got?
Let me tell you something, Todd the Bod Dylan.
This is complimentary.
When I step into the ring, I am sanitary. And the last time I saw you on stage, you had no shoes on. That's a health risk, sir. Because before I step into the ring, all the women knocking on my door want to be let in, and all the women knocking on your door you won't let out. Because I'm sexy peach schnapps. I'm going straight to the top, and I got the gift of gab that makes all the panties drop. And you're gonna drop after I'm done with you next time. Believe it.
Well, that started off really nice and went downhill.
I like the part where he called you a sex offender.
Yeah. I don't know how being barefoot. I mean,
Well, you are from Tennessee. I assume
Yeah.
that barefoot is.
no, that's true. I have been on stage barefoot before.
That's awesome. All right.
Right. And locking women in your dungeon, or as they call it, Tennessee courtin'.
Right?
Terrible. Oh my god.
I mean-
so far this is my favorite game we've ever played. All right, Todd, what do you got?
All right. So, Polar Bear Putnam,
Yes.
I see you walking around here like your shit don't stink in your ivory tower with your blonde wife. You think you're running the game. You think you're untouchable. Well, I'll tell you what, Polar Bear. I'm climbing that tower. And I'm going to knock you off the top. And then I'm taking your blonde wife and locking her in the basement with Pete Sakaris.
We're taking Mary Tennessee courtin'.
Oh my god. Oh, good job, everybody. That was a lot of fun. This one may stay in the rotation. Okay, we're getting close. Let's do some news. You want to do some news?
Sure.
Joshua Vossler News.
Hello, everybody.
50 Shades of Grey, more like $50,000 of therapy. A Concord, California drive-in movie theater has come under fire after parents complained that it was playing the new movie SpongeBob SquarePants simultaneously with 50 Shades of Grey. The drive-in theater has 2 screens, which apparently made it unavoidable to see both movies when they were playing. One parent was quoted as saying, "At the time, there was a woman being slapped, naked, and bound up, so we had to have our children close their eyes."
Wait, she was being negged?
Naked?
Are you naked? Sorry, never mind. Go ahead.
The company that owns the theater has not responded to numerous media inquiries.
I think it's good marketing. It's a family night, you know, the parents. Something for the parents, something for the kids.
I like it. Yeah. This is not... My favorite thing about 50 Shades of Grey is that it started out as Twilight fan fiction. Did you guys read that?
I mean, who doesn't want to be in the car when they watch BDSM with their parents?
Oh, no. Yeah, that... I can see how that would be traumatizing for sure, actually.
Don't look at the right screen, Timmy.
Now, this was a drive-in, and it was... You couldn't see both screens. I mean...
You could. The way, like, one was facing north and the other one was, like, facing west.
Okay.
So, like...
If you were at a certain part of the thing.
Right, you could see it. Apparently, like in a Colorado movie theater, they accidentally played 50 Shades of Grey instead of SpongeBob.
The whole movie?
Yeah, and like
nobody
kids,
said anything.
Kids were getting dragged out of the theater.
Yeah, that's... I don't know. Is
Really? Because I feel like it's a hilarious joke. I understand, like, haha, kids watching, not quite pornography. But, like, I feel like kids would recuse themselves because they'd be really disappointed they didn't get to see the SpongeBob movie. Right. Like, I feel like if you're, like, 5, you don't want to see, like, you just see, like, it's, like, opening over a, like, cityscape, and then there's just adults talking, like, what the fuck is this?
I kind of feel like I would be pissed.
Yeah. If I expected to see any movie.
I kind of want to see SpongeBob. I have no desire to see 50 Shades of Grey. That looks terrible.
It was weird because they actually tried interviewing some of the kids, and it kind of threw them off because most of the kids were like, the book was better.
Or where's Mr. Krabs? Oh, there's Mr. Krabs.
Is Mr. Krabs a character in that movie? Or you just mean
Crab.
SpongeBob.
I don't know. Mr. Krabs is a character from 50 Shades of Grey who got ported over to SpongeBob because of the popular. No,
I was trying to make an STD joke.
Yeah, I was with you.
Yeah.
sorry that I don't watch. Sorry that I don't watch either Shades of Grey or SpongeBob, guys.
I don't either. I think the SpongeBob movie looks funny, and I think that the 50 Shades of Grey looks terrible. I think it looks poorly written. Well, I mean, I know it's poorly written. It started out as Twilight fan fiction and got so popular that the girl who wrote it changed the names from Twilight to, like, make up names, and then
That's a really good underdog story, though.
added another 100 pages in there to expand it. What,
You know, there's
Twilight?
there's some guy out there making a mashup of X-Men and Superman where, I don't know. And he's like, it can get to the big screen. 50 Shades of Grey did.
Well, that's a good point.
All right. I wanted to find something on the internet that I wanted to share, and it's kind of complete insanity. You're not going to believe where it came from. The QVC shopping network. Right?
All right.
The host is like a really famous like designer, Isaac Mizrahi. I heard of him.
I love
before.
his work.
Isaac
yes,
Mizrahi, yeah.
And the host get into a little bicker, and we can decide who was right. And after this is over.
I'm gonna skip
Spring
ahead to
does
the.
bring flowers, and this one is a cherry blossom, and this is a.
Okay, I gotta skip ahead to the interesting point. So they're selling these like floral pattern shirts.
Right.
I think is what.
Well, can I say what's interesting to me is that if they are selling floral pattern shirts, that like the celebrity they choose to get on that one was this designer and not, I don't know, Weird Al Yankovic.
Right.
Tom Selleck.
Yeah. Well, the conversation we're talking about doesn't even involve the shirts. It's just, here we go.
Then look at this one. This is what we call emerald, but really it's more like a sea foam.
I love that color. That's such a happy, beautiful, rich
It almost kind of
experience.
looks like what the Earth looks like when you're a bazillion miles away from the planet Moon.
Yes, I
The
just
planet
squinted
moon,
at it,
From
and
the
you're right.
moon, looking back
From
at
the
the
planet
Earth.
Moon. From the planet
Is the moon a star?
The moon is a planet, darling.
The sun is a star. Is
Well,
the moon really a planet?
The moon is a planet.
Don't look at me
honey.
like that.
It's
The sun is
it's
a star.
planet.
Is the sun not a star?
I don't know what the sun is.
The sun is
we
a
don't
star,
know what
isn't
the
it?
sun is.
The sun is a star. The moon is not a
The
planet.
moon
I
is
knew
a
it.
planet.
I knew it. You were
Excuse
trying
me?
to take me
No.
down that road.
I don't ever want this to
Not a
end.
planet.
Chunky, if you're listening to
This
me,
is
you have to
Rosebud.
Google the moon.
Someone, I
okay?
can guarantee you someone's Googling it
Wait,
right now.
The
'cause
moon
I
is
knew it
such
was
a
not
planet.
Okay, anyway,
So she didn't think the sun was a star, but she also knew the moon was. But the guy thought the moon was a planet?
the host eventually got it right. She just tripped herself up grammatically, but she eventually said, "The sun is a star. I don't know what the moon is." Which is hilarious because the moon is a moon. About 45 seconds later in the clip, someone comes in and informs them that the moon is a satellite, which confuses this Isaac Mizrahi guy even more. Like it really sends him over the edge. He's like, it's not a satellite. It's a plant. Like he's really confused.
Right. Well, because when he hears it's a satellite, that's like, he's going like, no, it's not one of those things, like those box-shaped things with a dish on it. Like, that's what a satellite is.
Yeah. So it's easy to make fun of Hawaiian shirt clothing designer Isaac Mizrahi.
Not just easy, fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
And
we should keep
justified.
doing it. Yeah.
Well,
I'm for it.
it is one of those things, though. I think this reminded me of like it is hilarious, and I don't want to remove any mirth from the situation, but it is a thing that happens to almost every human being at some point in your life, where there's just a piece of information that you missed. Because none of us can know everything it's a piece of information that seems obvious to everyone else on the planet that you just don't know. And we all have those holes in our memory. Like, this guy didn't know what a star was.
Right. Well, that's the punchline to this story. Like, in my mind, it's like, ha 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 ha. He makes 100 times more than I do.
Not 100. He's probably
like a million.
Yeah. Well, like, do you remember there was that congressman or senator who didn't know what an island was? Do you remember that clip?
Yeah, he thought it was Guam. He thought Guam would tip over if they put a military base on it.
Yeah, they were talking about putting a military base on Guam, and he said into a microphone at a congressional hearing, isn't there concern that the island will? And then there was a long pause, and he went, tip over. And you could see him thinking during the pause, something's not right about what I'm about to say. But he just powered on through.
He knew he wasn't supposed to, but like he was going through his filters and he's like, I don't have anything else to put here.
I have to end the sentence with something. I better make sure it makes me look like an idiot too.
Now, like, that guy became a senator or a congressman or something. Like, he must have. He can't be completely stupid. It's just one of those things that popped up. I'm sure I've got shit like that. I know I've said things that everyone else are like, "Are you kidding? You don't know this?" But to me, I was just
something like, "Can an island tip over?" Like something to that level.
I mean, maybe.
I like this video because like he's like. Somebody's definitely like Google that, and there's people like standing behind the camera. There's one guy going like, "No, I'm not going to Google that."
There's no reason to Google
Oh no, yeah, there was a camera guy who could have like fixed that scenario, but he was going to watch.
Yeah. Well, partially that, and everyone else who could have Googled a thing was like, "A moon is a moon. It's not a planet. Like it's
the planet moon.
The planet moon. A moon is a planet." You got one more?
I do. I was going to do a voice for this, but I have no confidence in myself.
No,
anymore.
Do it.
Do it. YOLO.
What'd he say?
He said fucking YOLO.
YOLO. Okay, thank you. I feel good now about it. I was going to do a Cogni-like accent, but now I'm just fucking...
Here, you want me to take a shot at it?
I always fancied me... I always fancied myself a collector of sorts, all sorts of bloody things, I don't know what that was all over the place.
Good
okay, all right.
We're on board.
Blood that was taken from Winston Churchill when he fractured his hip at the age of 87 has now resurfaced and is going up for auction. No one knows how much the blood will fetch, but it could be pretty high.
Is it like on clothing or something?
It's like in a vial.
Can I just say, thank God.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing we need to have around.
Blood of celebrities?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, of course.
It's almost future time. We're going to be cloning guys.
How
And
they
we need
truly live on.
Winston. We need an 87-year-old Winston Churchill back here right now.
Oh, yeah. That's a good... What was the process like whereby that was kept and stored? I think is what I immediately went to.
As shit.
Right. So he fractured his hip.
He fractured his hip. He went in, he's older, and he spent time in a hospital.
Right.
And I guess a student nurse, pocketed a vial of blood.
So at a certain point, an orderly turned to another orderly and was like, I got an idea.
I like to think that nurse dressed as the Hamburglar. She just runs up and she's like, "Rebel, rebel," and just runs out.
With Winston Churchill's blood.
I think
Winston Churchill blood.
I think she was like a creepy stalker because she pocketed the vial of blood and then kept it until she died, and that's the only reason it's up for auction. This lady died.
Oh shit!
Blood in a vial,
because she's a goddamn hero. She wasn't in it for the money. She was just trying to save it for future generations.
I feel like at a certain point there is an argument like, honey, we need to clean out the attic and throw away all these vials of blood. Like, no, don't throw those away. I need those. Like, what do you need them for? You never play with them anymore. Like, they're going to be valuable someday. They're still in the original vial. Like, I would like to have seen that argument take place. Like,
okay, can I keep the boxes of hair? All right, we'll get rid of the blood. I'll keep the hair. We compromise.
I wonder what, I also want to know what else that, it was a lady who, female nurse, what else did she, take out of that hospital? Like, was it just...
Semen sample. Semen sample from Winston Churchill.
Now, that's where the money is.
My seed will fetch a proper finance on the auction, eh?
Because, you know what? For sure, Winston Churchill's seed would be valuable.
That's I found out.
I gotta think.
Yeah, but that's why you clone him. Then you have just like a bottomless supply of Winston Churchill
A
sponge.
Churchill farm.
Yes,
Just
correct.
Running an illegal Churchill farm. Yeah.
Oh, I have to assume. I mean, I know he's also been doing Hanes commercials and wearing Hitler stashes, but I assume that has to be how Michael Jordan is paying for all of his gambling. He's just who wants a sweet retirement plan?
Right.
Who wants a kid who's going to be in the NBA for 20 years?
Yeah. You're gonna see a bunch of weird, like, 6'8" accountants here in 18 years who are like, I mean, there was just so many clones that just didn't pan out.
is it still like bloody? Is it still wet?
I don't
Does
know.
It dry out?
It was a real short story. I have no idea.
I
guess you'll have to buy it to find out.
I've seen like when you watch like archaeological shit on the History Channel, like old blood it's going to be hard. I don't think you could keep it like liquid.
It's going to solidify and no longer be like
even in a vial. I don't like.
Yeah, and it looks brown.
If
it's
it's
like brown,
kept-
hard, crusty.
If it's kept like airtight, it wouldn't stay as a. Now, is this our? Why isn't the island tipping over?
Yeah, I was just thinking the same. When you said something, I was like, "Thank God, Will's on board. I want this island to tip over."
All right. Well, with that island tipping, we're pretty much up against it, guys. Let's go ahead and start to bring this one home. Pete Sakaris, you are doing stand-up where and when?
You can see me on Monday nights, usually around 10 at the Hideout for Omaha's Most Wanted Open Mic. We are an all-inclusive open mic, which means comedy, music, poetry, slam poetry, DJ, whatever your fancy is, whatever you're good at, come down and showcase it. You can also see me most Wednesdays at the Barley Street Tavern Open Mic in Benson, hosted by Dusty Stell. And
Does that Omaha's Most Wanted Open Mic, does that move around?
No.
It used to be at the Shark Club.
No, the Shark Club is a different group.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know. Which one? What is Ben McFarlane?
Ben McFarlane does Shoot Your Mouth Off.
Oh, that's a different thing. Sorry, I got those confused.
Different thing, Shark Club, different
Right.
schools of thought, ideologies, or whatever. Yeah.
Sorry about that, man.
But, no, he's a good dude. Yeah, he's a good dude.
I like Ben.
Can we dig incredibly deep into that statement? Because I feel like there's a lot to unpack there. Can you define your ideology as it stands in opposition to anyone else?
We've been active for 200 and some weeks. Like, granted, they're the group that's been around longer.
What an odd measurement of time.
I'm just thinking
200 weeks.
I'm just thinking we have more camaraderie, more close-knit relationship, and granted, the crowds may not be as big, but hey, like, we're a family. We stick together, we have each other's backs, and we're all in this together, and we fight for our cause to be an all-inclusive open mic in Omaha.
Oh my God, I love that ideology. I wish there was more of that in the sort of art scene.
Right, we don't try and cut the other person down. We're doing our own thing and being successful at it.
Well, good. Keep doing that because we need more of that.
I have 2 more plugs, if I may.
Keep going, buddy.
March 9th, you can see... Oops. Okay.
That's fine. Yeah. I stepped on you.
March 9th, you can see me at the Pizza Shop Collective in Omaha, Nebraska for Samurai of Spoken Word, which is the spoken word group I belong to. We run shows once a month at the Pizza Shop and encourage donations to a charity of our choosing, but come out and enjoy some free entertainment.
Describe spoken word.
Spoken word...
it's like poetry?
It's like kind of walks a tightrope between comedy, poetry, and storytelling. Like you can mix whatever in there. Like
all right.
Henry Rollins was the main inspiration for the group itself, and I'm a huge Henry Rollins fan. So
good.
I was all over that. And it's a mixture of like comedy, short stories, and like really long, like, just getting up there and talking in front of people, whether it's to teach them a lesson, make them laugh, or help them think in a different way, or make them go into a deep, dark, vulnerable place that they're afraid to go to and bring up these emotions they never knew they had. That's our mission, and that's what we seek to entertain, and we seek to stimulate the intellectual fancy,
It's fine.
out of a pretty
You're
much...
not 50 Shades of Grey.
Right. Yeah, we're not 50 Shades of Samurai over here, but, yeah.
Pizza Shop is a good place to see shows like that. It's a real comfortable room.
Great food, awesome room. Like
they do have good pizza.
And the crowds, whether it's for a Missing Kitten comedy show or Samurai Spoken Word, any Pizza Shop show I've been to, they just come out in droves and they just appreciate everything we do, and we give them all the love and they give it right back to us. And on March 21st, Magnum Pro Wrestling returns to Sokol Auditorium for Magnum Mania. For details on that, check us out at facebook.com/Magnum Wrestling, on Twitter at Magnum Wrestling, or at magnum-pro.com/tickets.
Throw out your own Twitter feed, or your own Twitter account.
Follow me on Twitter at Pete's Sanctions. I don't tweet as much as I used to, but I am active on there with stuff from Magnum and my own random thoughts as they come to me, which is pretty much all the time.
Right on. Nice.
Yep.
I made a mistake when I introduced you to the show, Todd Dillon. I should have introduced you as two-time improv champion.
Yeah,
Todd
that's
Dillon,
right. Yeah.
because you are hot off of winning 2 long-form improv championships.
Yeah, that's why I'm on the podcast. You got to strike while the iron's hot.
That's right. What were those?
Jimmy saw me winning the arena championship and
Right.
the triple mulligan championship. He was like, I got to get that dude on my podcast.
It's right. He's on the rise.
No, it's just super cool.
You do mostly long-form improv at the Backline, which is at 1618 Harney in Omaha, Nebraska. I would say that's your primary, that's your home base.
Yeah, that's where I hang out. I like improv. I want to say thanks to John Herman, Rachel Ware, Bonnie Strawn, and Nick Rowley for dragging my dead ass around to those 2 victories. I'm the featured player there this week.
Oh, kick ass.
Yeah, so Friday I got
To do Interrogated.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Interrogated, and then my team Slap Happy is going up in the arena.
Can we see the Slap Happy promo online somewhere? Because it's awesome.
Yeah, it's on my Facebook.
right.
It's on the arena's Facebook, and it's on Price Comstock's YouTube page.
Everybody should go check out the promo for Todd's improv team. It's fucking hilarious. It's Todd and 2 chicks slapping each other.
I'm gonna
essentially.
I'm gonna try to get Dylan to make it the featured video. So if you want
Nice.
to go to what's their website? Backlineimprov.com.
I don't know if it's Backline Improv or the Backline. I don't know.
I think it's Backline Comedy.
Backline. Okay.
I should really figure
I should
that
know
out.
too. But I mean, we have Google. Just type in Backline Omaha Comedy, and
Right on.
it'll be the only one that comes up.
And Todd, you used to do stand-up.
Yeah.
But now you mostly do improv.
Right.
Tell us about
Stand-up's hard.
that. It is.
Like, I don't like.
We were talking last night just about how much it sucks going to open mics workshopping new material.
It's like
Pete, you still do a lot of that, yes?
Yes, I do.
It sucks.
and like you can roll up and you can do the same set one night and it'll kill, and then the next night it just sucks.
Yeah, I would say
like
that's
the crowd's not
par
in it.
for the course.
Oh yeah, totally.
Well,
So-
can I tell you something else that like I just reacted to based on like you just saying like that's the thing that you don't ever do in stand up, like you just won 2 things. Right.
Right.
I wish I got that because I don't really do improv. I do stand up, and I never get to leave like, yeah, I just won that stand up
Didn't you
show.
know-
Bullshit. You just won Clash of the Comics and got a hosting gig at the
Yeah.
Funny Bone.
I did. That was
Was that a lead-in?
That was a while ago.
Was that? Did you just want to bring that up?
I did. I know. I did.
I don't have a Will Doherty makes you happy drop. It happens so rarely. Will Doherty
I mean,
inspires
hey,
you.
If it should tell you that if anything, the brief fleeting moment of joy that I had from that experience had already long since left my experience. It was no longer even in my memory.
Right.
So
right. How long have you been doing stand-up, Pete? How long have you been
It'll be 2 years this July.
trudging through that murky swamp?
Right. Haven't been on as many showcases as open mics, but still trucking along, still learning, still.
What
Did you ever do comedy battle royale?
Once.
Did you win? Because I did.
Yeah.
Hold on.
fuck you, fuck you.
Way to put yourself over there, champ.
I was just following Will's lead.
I also did it one time and lost quickly.
Yeah, I jobbed out to Abby in the first round. I was like, yeah.
Oh, I beat Abby in the third round.
Underestimated
Sorry,
myself.
Abby, I love you.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I lost to Abby in the final round. But I justify that one to myself because I got super like joke condescending about it. So I felt like I tanked it. Like I opened my set by saying, you know, I just want to say what an honor it must be for you to be with me here in the finals.
That sounds like
Did you ruin it for yourself, Lil, because you're afraid to be happy?
That sounds like a typical like ass covering like psychological
Right.
will trick.
I had to protect myself.
Yeah, I accepted my loss with quiet dignity and grace. I was like, okay, it's not
so unlike a comedian.
It's not a promo contest. It's not a rhyme. I tried to do like Superstar Billy Graham promos and nothing was landing. I was like, all right, nice experience, but
How long has it been since Billy Graham was a thing even? I need to bring this up. Billy Graham has not been an issue since maybe the 80s.
Right.
Possibly the 70s.
Yeah, he actually put sold his Hall of Fame ring to pay for his medical bills.
So why did you think that Billy Graham promos were getting over?
I thought it would because, number one, if you don't have so many fans in the crowd, it's not going to land and people won't appreciate it, but at least you can, say that you tried. But I was like, okay, they'll dig the Muhammad Ali style of rapping that he used to do. Not really.
Not at all.
Yeah.
What, Pete, let me ask you this. What keeps you trucking along in stand-up? Because I ask myself that all the time, and I have no answer.
I have no aspirations of fame and fortune or like real big notoriety for stand-up because I am so used to being up in front of a crowd with a mic in my hand, talking to people, reading their emotions, dictating how they feel, and feeding off their energy that I'm just so used to it. Like, the wrestling is thing, but the comedy is just something else that I'm doing.
Okay.
But what keeps me going is the fact that I can go to these places and get up there and just start talking about things that happen to me. It's therapeutic that way, much cheaper than therapy, by the way. And what keeps me there is that the people keep coming back and there's a demand for it. And there might be that one person in the crowd who's had a shitty day, shitty job, shitty marriage, shitty relationship, shitty life, and wants to approach it with a new found sense of self.
Yeah, Will is in the crowd sometimes.
Right. So,
sorry.
And all I want is a little validation.
Right.
And also just the love for it. Like I've been I was a fan of stand-up all my life, and one thing led to another, and I went to my first open mic in July of 2013 and saw a bald man with glasses on, and I was like, his name is Jimmy Putnam. He's wearing his own shirt.
And if this,
everybody
I used to wear a shirt with my name on it.
Everybody's yelling, Jimmy!
And now you just made a bunch to sell.
And before you went up, I was like, why do I get the feeling that something insane is about to happen?
Todd Dillon, same question. What keeps you coming back to... Oh, right. All the success in championships.
Right.
Okay.
Big champion over here.
Yeah.
the endless sea of accolades and blowjobs.
Right.
Inevitably
But it
follows.
just come pouring in. No, like, for me, improv's awesome. It's because it's like being a little kid and you just get to make shit up and people are happy about it.
I feel like there's a recurring theme with both of you guys of suspended adolescence. Like all the shit I enjoyed at 10, now I'm doing as an adult, and I can really fucking do it.
And it's better to do it as an adult because then you can like finance it and you can like like you could just do like when I joined the military, me and my buddy went and spent $1,000 on swords.
Awesome.
Yeah, and just had them up over the house. We didn't have like a coffee table. Our coffee table was a speaker box with a towel over it, but we had $1,000 worth of swords all over the wall because now I'm an adult and I have money, so I could go buy all the shit.
Right.
Like the day I closed on my house, I went, before I even went into it that day, went and bought a trampoline because I never got to have a trampoline when I was a kid, and I was so pumped.
Like one of the big ones.
It was the first thing I moved into my new house when I bought a house.
When we first bought this house, the first thing I bought was a pool table. Same reason. Like I'd never had a pool table. I don't even fucking hardly use it now.
What kind?
Oh, I got it for $130 on Craigslist. It's just one of those little 7-foot bar tables. But like, I'd always my entire life wanted a pool table in my house, and I was like, I'm getting one. So
can I just say, when you're an adult, money doesn't just happen. Not everybody just ends up working as a stockbreaker for just with no effort onto their own part, as you self-described it.
Well, I don't know.
Adulthood is awesome. You just have a bunch of money for no reason. It's weird.
Yeah.
Is that not what everybody?
Is that not true? I don't really.
I literally don't know how to. Like, I just happened. Like, I'm.
Why don't you feel bad for your success?
Because I didn't really put a lot of effort into it. So, like,
That's
what's
why
to be proud of? Yeah.
Todd, I feel like Todd is constantly repaying the world with hugs for
Yeah,
his own
like,
success.
you just, like, I don't know, just go into things and, like, don't shit all over it, like, right off the bat, Will. Like, give it a shot, like, with a little enthusiasm, and maybe it'll be fun.
Oh, you're attempting a Sisyphean task here, like attempting to.
Oh, I realize. Like, I didn't even have my heart in that. I was just like, I was saying it as a matter of course. I was just like, Will.
It seemed polite.
Yeah. Like, here, Will. Here's some facts you can ignore.
On a counterpoint to that, this is gonna be real weird, sad. I just want to say, like, the fact that, like, Pete is here, there's something comforting about the fact that I feel like you have a dream that's even more unrealistic than professional comedian.
Right.
The wrestling thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's like the same, except you get punched in one of them.
Right, and professional wrestling also is dangerous.
Right.
Okay, that was a shitty joke, but let's go ahead and end the podcast on that one.
Has there been stand-up fights lately? That's the thing that we
there
need
was
more
the
of in
dude.
Omaha.
There was like the Canadian dude who got like cracked in the skull with a bat while he was hosting an open
In
mic.
Washington.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I meant around
Was it
Omaha.
Washington?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, around here there's just a lot of Facebook drama.
I threw a joke book at a guy while I was on the stage.
Right.
Nice.
That's right, you did do
That's the
that.
closest.
Has there been any violence? I mean, other than what we've perpetrated?
Podcasts are big in the fight game.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of tension.
I do have a plug.
Yeah.
The day this comes out, Thursday, I'm going to be on Agree to Disagree in Omaha, the city, with James Lindsay. And we hadn't picked a topic, but I think I found out, like, I'm going to be pro Planet Moon, and he's going to be pro Sun
Planet.
Moon.
Sun.
Whatever.
Wait, what did he think the sun was again?
He didn't know. He just like the sun is a sun. The host said the sun is a star, and he was like, the sun is not a star.
It's a planet.
It's like stars are in the sky. Like, he didn't know.
Stars are at night, stupid.
Yeah. Will, any plugs?
I don't have any plugs. I just want to remind everyone that your happiness is a burden.
All right.
Oh, I got one more. I just want to plug, go hug somebody, because it's nice.
That is nice.
And if you see Will Doherty, hug him.
Todd's a good hugger.
Like, even if he says he doesn't want it. Like, aggressively hug Will Doherty when you see him.
Hugging your 2 championships.
Give me a good Tennessee Corton.
If you can fight your way past Todd's multiple championship trophies, you can give him a hug.
Right.
You don't have to.
don't
I'll
feel-
put down trophies to hug.
Don't feel threatened by all the swords that are just lying about.
That's all. Like, we've gotten rid of the swords.
You're now building a wood shop.
Yeah, now I'm building a wood shop. That's
You
gonna
got
be
rid of
exciting.
the swords? Then how are you going to protect yourself in case of ninja invasion?
Hugs.
Hugs. They're just misguided.
All right.
Hey, Ninja, get in here.
This
Bring
has
it
been
in.
a lot of fun, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, guests. Thank you, Pete Sakaris.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Todd Dillon.
Let's do some hugging.
Yay! And for my co-hosts, Will Doherty
Sorry.
and Joshua Vossler.
The planet Moon.
I have been your host, Jimmy Putnam. This song is called The Devil's Train. It is by the Lab Rats. Thank you and good night.
My grandpops was a man of respect, had to sweat just to cash checks, working from sunrise to set. Every day get challenged, no trades or talents, barely scraped by, he found faith navigate the balance of straight line and pace, feeling worn and gray. Poor with 4 seeds, 1 more on the way. It was hard days indeed, all work and no play. He made sure things on the surface were okay, but something disturbing within his mind was lurking. A slight twilight breeze would ease in through the curtains at night. It's like the sermon of a twisted apparition was urging him to listen to the train in the distance. At first it wasn't intense, just one little instance. Sure, it didn't occur, he turned to resist it, as if it wasn't much more than just a figment of his imagination. But for days it was persistent, and it went, follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me. And it got louder, follow me, follow me, I have something to show you. With time, people noticed he was acting berserk. Granny got a call saying he was absent from work, and that was the first. She ran to the pastor at church to ask him what was up with this disastrous curse. But bad with the worst, he came back 3 days after. No money in his wallet and his shirt on backwards. Stumbling, walked awkward, he called out for his daughter. Right before he split, the last lesson he taught her was this: if you ever have a son, let him know that his granddad loved him. But by the time that he's grown, be sure the seed is sown deep down into his dome. Don't ever walk to the train tracks alone. With that, he backed up, reached out for his jacket, told her not to act up, and cracked up laughing. After all that happened, he left never to be seen. 15 years later, it's when my mother had me. Her dad lived a life people can't understand. Went from a family man to rambling man, a gambling man that burned both ends of the candle. Folded his hand in, it was too hot to handle.
Sitting on the tracks waiting for the night train, looking down the road, ain't never gonna go back. Listen for the whistle through the wind and rain. Now who's gonna ride the devil's train tonight? Sitting by the tracks waiting for the night train, looking down the road, ain't never gonna go back. Listen for the whistle through the wind and rain. Now who's gonna ride the devil's train tonight?
When I was a top, my mom's dropped fables and stories to warn me of the dangers that were laying before me. To keep it interesting, she would hide the lesson, to guide my direction, provide the right message. In time, I developed a sense of her embellishments, hence I was rebellious against what she was telling me. When I was a teen, I pretended that my demons were friends. I defended the place, yo, and that was the case. Slurred speech dripping off of my face. The world creeped as I slipped to the awfulest place you could imagine. Not the average things you see on acid. My granddad bloody hovering on a speaker cabinet, laughing in a raspy tone, covered in maggots that snacked on his mass to the bone. I couldn't grasp it. Did it double dismount off of the couch, flipped out, broke the closest window I found, then I dipped out. Suddenly, I discovered little voices mumbling up in my head. It had me wondering, what was it my mother said back when I was younger? It had my brain racked as I stumbled off of the night towards the train tracks.
Sitting by the tracks waiting for the night train, looking down the road, ain't never gonna go back. Listen for the whistle through the wind and rain. Now who's gonna ride the devil's train tonight? Sitting by the tracks waiting for the night train, looking down the road, ain't never gonna go back. Listen for the whistle through the wind and rain. Now who's gonna ride the devil's train tonight?
So there I was, stalking through the dark with a buzz. I figured I should walk, that'll ease me off of these drugs. It's like a shark, had to keep moving, it's that'd be ruined. If I sat still, I was doomed, and that wasn't doing. So I marched through the park, slow gone like Donnie Darko. The sparkle of the starlight glowed like charcoal. Despite my demeanor, the night seemed more serene than a morphine fiend in the morgue. It seemed like I'd lost it. That was when my grandpop's carcass emerged from the dark, gurgling his words of carnage, but he couldn't talk. Something about the birth of sadness. I scurried off, I was on the verge of madness. I raced fast paced and the landscape was strange, like a plane parallel to this one, but rearranged. Came to a slope that was steep, begging for sleep as I climbed up, taking my focus off of the creeps. Within the foggy distance, I saw a silhouette that got bigger as I stepped. The train tracks were wet. I saw a shiny grin from afar like it was happy. This is what he said as he started to walk past
It's
me.
a nice night for a walk. Would you mind if I joined you?
Do what you wanna do.
Well, that's great, cause I'm going to. And not to annoy you, but see, I really have to ask what a young dude like you's doing out by the tracks. You waiting on a train?
Nah, man, let me explain.
All right.
I'm minding my business, so maybe you should do the same. I just been a witness to something sick and sadistic, so twistedly disgusting. You should feel real lucky you missed it.
Ooh, easy with the tongue, son. Try to listen carefully. What you seen scary, but nothing when compared to me. I could show you things to paint all your dreams haunted. I can make you scream if I wanted. Or I can be the bee in your bonnet, your best friend forever. Two peas in a pot flocking like birds of a feather. And you never have a need to beg, work, or steal. If all this sounds worth it, then let's make a deal. All you want in life for the price of your soul. All the money you could fold, power that you can hold, I'll put you in control. Only if you're down to roll down these train tracks tonight.
But where are we gonna go?
Sitting by the tracks waiting for for the night train, looking down the road, ain't